What does the Pennsylvania economy say about who could win this election?
It's going to be close. The economy's struggling. The pandemic has done a lot of damage, and we've got a lot of lower middle-income households that are reliant on fiscal support. And of course, we haven't gotten any additional fiscal support from lawmakers. So, but despite all that, the stock market, as you point out, has done pretty well here. So high-income households have done okay. But net, I think it's going to be a pretty close election. At least that's what I can see in my backyard here. Lots of Trump signs, lots of Biden signs. Hard to just based on that determine who's going to win. So I think it's going to be a pretty close election based on by just eyeing of things.
Mark, I think it's safe to say that your thoughts echo most of America is thinking right now. Ron Carson, what do you think? The economy, is it the economy that will dictate who wins this election? And if so, what does it say about the outcome?
Well, I think the markets, especially this morning, yesterday, are saying that they think there's going to be a clear and concise victory here. That's what the market's saying. I agree with Mark. I think it's going to be super close. But I think the thing is, you have to figure out, regardless of who gets in office, there's going to be massive stimulus. There just is. I mean, we have COVID-19 is embedded directly in our lives every day, and companies, while some are doing okay, a lot of them are on life support. So stimulus, well, all that money will eventually find its way into financial assets. We saw it last time. We're going to see it again. So I think it has a lot less to do with what's necessarily going on in the economy short term. Because look, if you would have followed that earlier this year, it wouldn't have worked out so well. But follow the money, follow the stimulus, regardless of who gets in. There's more stimulus to come.
I mean, the stimulus is key, right, Mark? The idea here that this economy in America needs a jump start. It needs another kind of perhaps catalyst for it. Is it trillions of dollars more? Is that what it takes to get the economy back to what it was kind of in 2019 before the pandemic hit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, monetary policy can't really help here where the Fed's got interest rates at zero, so no more room there. Pandemic is still raging and intensifying, and I think that's going to really slow the economic recovery, and so a lot of hurting people. So I do think there needs to be some support, at least to the other side of the pandemic. And then once we're on the other side of the pandemic, I think the goal needs to be to get back to full employment as fast as possible, and that's going to take some additional support. I do think how much support we get depends critically on the election outcome. So, if it's a Democratic sweep, I think we get a much larger fiscal support package or packages to drive the economy. If it's a Biden or a Trump presidency with a split Congress, then things get trickier. And I think we'll get some fiscal support. It just won't be quite as significant.
Now, Mark, if I could just follow up really quickly on that point there. If you are looking to get back to full employment, what kinds of economic policies will any candidate have to put in place that kind of get you there the fastest? Is it infrastructure? Is it more technology spending? What is it?
Yeah, so the first package has got to be more support for the folks that are hurting, unemployment, stimulus checks, PPP money for small business, airlines, helping the airlines out, so forth and so on. But the next package needs to be things like infrastructure spending, just significant support to the economy. But infrastructure spending, I think, is the best way of getting the economy back to full employment. That can provide support to economy regions across the country. So we've got problems everywhere, and everywhere is going to need some help. And nothing better than infrastructure spending to help all these different communities from coast to coast. All
right. So, Ron, with all of that in mind, how exactly do you feel the markets will kind of play out in 2021, given the fact that there's all this narrative around more fiscal stimulus coming down the pike?
Yeah, I think that we've had a shift digitally that we didn't expect, that we thought would take a decade, happened in a few months. So there's going to be major winners and losers, be surgical. But I think whoever is elected, there's stimulus, and I would really get your risk budget right. If you're a little uneasy, don't go selling equities you have large gains in. You can buy some deep out of the money puts. You can put some election protection on here, regardless of who gets in. Because even if you knew the answer, I'm not so sure you're going to get the short-term volatility right. You need to sleep better. Make sure that you're taking the appropriate level of risk.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.